like we said, I think, when you see movement and as many places as we saw, it's something structural. People are saying they were unhappy with the way things are going in the country, economically, the border, crime. They want Trump to fix it. They were also saying whether you're talking about focus groups or reporters out talking to people, there were a significant number of voters who would say, when hearing the most extreme things Trump is talking about, we got through the first term and none of these things happened.
Wow, guys, if you've been watching the news or if you've been following, you'll know that something great and something spectacular just happened in the United States of America. Donald Trump, after all the obstacles, all the challenges, everything that he has passed through, all the humiliation, he finally got the desire that he wants, that the American people believed him for. And so they all came out in mass to make him the next president of the United States of America. So in this video, we shall be looking at the reactions from some of the left-wing critics who have all been saying negative things about Donald Trump. So we're going to be hearing what they have to say now, because that is the most important. Before now, they were on top of their voices, shouting and screaming and trying to brainwash and trying to talk down on people about their choice that they've made in voting for Donald Trump. They did everything. They persecuted, they shamed, they bullied anyone who came out and said that he is for Trump or she's for Trump. But right now, their voices, they are no longer shouting on their voices right now. So right now, what they are doing, they're all ashamed of themselves, because they've been saying all these things with every sense of entitlement, like nothing bad with, like whatever they say must come to pass. But the American people just made them understand that they are not the one vote. And if you look at the people complaining, people saying that Trump is the threat to democracy, how many of them, how many votes will they make compared to the people who actually want this change? So we'll be looking at the video and be seeing how, or what they are now saying now. They've now turned their attention or their tone to what they've been saying formerly to something that is quite different. Now they're trying to paint a gloomy picture because they lose the election. So if this is the first time you're watching this video, you are welcome to The Wakeful Show. I would like you to like, subscribe, and share this video. If you've done that, let us go back and see how these left-wing critics and now what they're now saying. We need to see the official reaction.
Liz Cheney tweeting her reaction to Donald Trump's win just moments ago. Here's what she says, quote, "Our nation's democratic system functioned last night, and we have a new president-elect. All Americans are bound, whether we like the outcome or not, to accept the results of our elections. We now have a special responsibility as citizens of the greatest nation on earth to do everything we can to support and defend our Constitution, preserve the rule of law, and ensure that our institutions hold over these coming 4 years. Citizens across this country, our courts, members of the press, and those serving in our federal, state, and local governments must now be the guardrails of democracy."
This is just complete humiliation for her. She felt joining the Kamala Harris team will give her the opportunity that she needs to continue to mock Donald Trump. That is all she was looking out for. That is why she pledged her support for Kamala, because she felt that if Kamala becomes the president, she will have a very big ministerial post, and she can use that to put her hands into Donald Trump's eyes. We are mocking him that he didn't win the election, but as God may have it, that plan did not come to fruition. Cheney had to drop this message because she does not have any other thing to do.
So, of course, Liz Cheney had devoted herself to preventing Donald Trump from ever entering the White House again. But the Never Trump movement inside the Republican Party, honestly, not borne out here today.
Bang up job. I mean, this Never Trump whole complex that grew over the last several years, nothing has ever failed as hard in politics as this. The Lincoln Project, all these people that built millions upon millions upon millions of dollars from Democratic donors, and all the eggs that was put in this basket. The split was amazing. Trump got like 94% of Republicans. I don't think they accomplished anything except probably build a bunch of beach houses. That's about what they did. Republicans being lectured to, condescended to, browbeaten by all these folks over the last. I mean, look, at some juncture, it's okay if we have different opinions about the election. You don't have to beat people to death over it. And the more you do that, the more it drives people away. Total failure.
God bless Scott Jenny. Whatever he has been saying has always been spot on. This is a man who, I guess, not just me, but many others love to hear his commentary. He loves to hear what he says. He always rational, doesn't just say things because he wants to say it. He wasn't moved by hate. He was always being objective in all his analysis. And you see, it has paid up for him. He's the only one speaking with confidence and with excitement over the weeks. He has been mocked, he has been ridiculed, like the way Donald Trump and his supporters has been ridiculed. That's the same thing that he has also faced on this left-leaning panel whenever they want to discuss about the issue of the day. And he also made a reference about the Lincoln Project. The Democrats were all blinded by hate. If they were not blinded by hate, they would have seen that this Lincoln Project were only trying to just get money out of them. Now the Lincoln Project have come and said, we're going to bring Republican coalition into Kamala Harris' campaign, that they're going to bring out a lot of Republicans who don't like, who opposes Donald Trump. They're all going to bring them over to Kamala Harris' camp, and they got a lot of money. And at the end of the day, from the exit polls that we've just seen, that 94% of Republicans voted for Donald Trump. So the Lincoln Project doesn't really have any influence whatsoever in this election. It has well been proven. That's all well been proven.
So I think I think it's important to level set that the statement that Liz Cheney is making in the Trump era is an important one. Now, you can argue that politically the Never Trump effort
and
failed.
actually, let me
but
pause you
Donald
for
Trump
one second, because there is a difference between Donald Trump and the Lincoln Project and what happened with Liz Cheney, which was a break that occurred after January 6th.
Yes. Yeah. And you can't, I mean, Scott, you can't pretend that Donald Trump has not spent a lot of his time and energy trying to convince the American people that the electoral system in this country is rigged. And that's before you even get to January 6th. So I'm gonna give you the political ramification. I'm gonna let you have that argument. It is incredibly important for people to say our systems will hold, our institutions will hold, our elections are free and fair. Even if we don't like the outcome, we have to abide by them. And you cannot pretend in the Donald Trump era that that's not an important thing to say.
I was happy to say these things before we knew the outcome of the election. I will just point out in our own exit polling on the issue of democracy, 73% of the people said they thought democracy was threatened, and they split evenly between the two campaigns, 49 to 49. And so,
well, that's probably because Donald Trump spent a lot of time telling a lot of people not to trust our democracy,
Which goes to, I hear you and Republicans making the argument that Trump won on this kind of like fundamentally unifying message. I would sincerely hope that he uses this moment to remind people, reassure people that our elections are free and fair in this country. He wields an enormous amount of power. He has a loyal following. I'm not saying I believe that he will, unfortunately. But he wields an enormous amount of influence, and he should use it for good.
But I don't think he will. Is the problem.
I doubt he will, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even hear you over there. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, Karen.
That's okay. No, unfortunately, just as his previous term, I don't think that he will. I think we already have the evidence that he won't. And I think he just ran a very divisive campaign, and he ran it in an environment where, I think one of the things we will be looking at, just as after 2016, we were looking at the resources that were saying that it was about, cultural anxiety and people feeling anxious about their place in a changing world. We got to look at what the gender divide really means in this country. And that's not by exit polls. I'm not talking about the surface, but there is something else that is happening in this country that Donald Trump, I think, because he's very good at this, he tapped into it with men in the I hear you, I see you. I think some of it is, part of the aftermath of the Me Too movement, where there were a lot of men who felt like there just wasn't a place for them, like they maybe weren't Harvey Weinstein, but they felt like, so what is appropriate? And I think they did feel kind of left out. So I think there are two levels of this, right? I think Donald Trump is going to continue to be very divisive. I think Liz Cheney's comment is incredibly important because the rule of law will matter. And I think part of what she's saying is somebody, we the people, are going to have to keep him in check. And I think there are other currents going on in the country that certainly Democrats would ignore at our.
You, these critics, should please allow Donald Trump and his supporters to enjoy this moment. They've really worked hard for this. They've been condescended on. They've been bullied. They've been criticized. They've been called all manner of names. They've been referred to as degenerate. Whatever you can think of, that is what they've been. They've been used to associate Trump and his supporters. And now that he has won, I was feeling your conscience would have told you that it is the will of the people that Donald Trump is the president. It is not like he forced himself into this position, or he forced himself, or he rigged this way to get this way. No, the people wanted him. The people want him to come to go and fix America. And so it is kind of appalling that these critics will come and start telling us that Donald Trump is divisive, he's not going to change, instead of just swallowing up your pride and say, oh, this campaign did a wonderful job, the people have spoken, and because people have spoken, we are going to agree with what the people, they will be the one that will want to hot up the system because they didn't get what they want. Or this political establishment have to tell us or have to say to the people. I would like to read your comment, drop your comment, and if you've done that, I'll say please encourage us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our video. I'll see you in the next one.